If I took you to a video game store and I told you that I would buy you one video game console and every Sonic game for that console, which one would you buy? Would you choose the Xbox 360 to play Sonic Unleashed? Or maybe the original Genesis so you could play the first couple of Sonic games? Or what about the PS5 so you could play... Oh wait, the PS5 doesn't have games. Let me pose you another question. If you wanted to get the most amount of Sonic games on one console, which console would you buy? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're taking a look at every video game console released over the past 35 years and figuring out which console has the most Sonic games on it. Before we get started though, I want to know which console you would buy and why you would want that console. Just let me know in the comments down below. Before getting too deep into it, we need to get a couple of things straight. We're only looking at consoles today, which means no arcade cabinets and no phones. Sonic's phone history is kind of confusing and I really don't want to open that can of worms today. There are a couple other things I want to discuss, but we'll talk about them when we get there. I'm starting something new in this video, and that's asking a Sonic related question on my Twitter, and whoever gets the right answer will be featured in the upcoming video. For today's video, I asked everyone what all these box arts have in common that no other Sonic box art has. I thought it would be tricky to guess, but not 2 hours later, Sonic will reply that these box arts don't show any part of Sonic's body. So congratulations, I'll try to make it harder next time. If you want a chance to be in the next video, make sure you follow me on Twitter, which will be linked in the description below. Now, let's start with the consoles with the least amount of Sonic games, and work our way up to the console with the most. Let's start by taking a look at the Diged, Leapster, and Neo Geo Pocket. Each of these consoles can only play one Sonic game each, those being Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic X, and Sonic the Hedgehog Pocket Adventure respectively. The former two are both educational games for their respective systems, while the latter is an actual Sonic platformer stylized after the classic Sonic games on the Sega Genesis. Moving up to being able to play two Sonic games, we have an educational gaming system on this list, that being the Sega Pico. On the system you can play Tales in the Music Maker and Sonic the Hedgehog's Game World. Both of these are educational games that teach children different subjects that you would learn in school like music or reading. Following that, it's the final console that Sega themselves will develop, that being the Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast can play 3 Sonic games, those being Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Shuffle. Fun fact, I actually own a Sega Dreamcast along with both adventure games. I don't play it that often, but it's still a fun novelty item to have. Also having 3 Sonic games on it is the Game.com developed by Tiger Electronics. Let's pause here for a second and talk about video game compilations. Compilations can be a great way to preserve old games and bring them onto newer hardware for a whole new generation to experience. But one question that's been bugging me is how should these compilations count? Should it be just one game, just the games in the compilation, or the games in the compilation plus the compilation itself? Well, for the purposes of this video, we're going to count just the games in the compilation and not the compilation itself. While the compilation is technically a game, the real gameplay of the compilation is set inside the games they hold and not playing the compilation itself. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but that's just what I'm going with. So turning our attention back to the Game.com, you're able to play Sonic Jam on it, which comes with Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. This makes up the 3 Sonic games on the Game.com. Following that, the PlayStation Vita is able to play 5 Sonic games on it. Only one game was released for the system, that being Sonic & All-Stars Racing Transformed. However, you were able to download every PlayStation Portable Sonic game on the PS Vita via the online store. That's why the PSP won't be appearing on this list, by the way, because it would just be outshined by the PS Vita. Anyways, the game you could download are Sonic Rivals, Sonic Rivals 2, and the Sega Genesis Collection, which has Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 as playable games on it. Also, just keep the virtual stores available because they come up a lot throughout this list. Next up on our list is the Sega Master System, which you can play 6 Sonic games. Now, if you know the Master System pretty well, you're most likely thinking that there are only 5 Sonic games made for the system, those being Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. If you lived in most of the world, that'd be correct, but for some reason, if you lived in Brazil, a Master System port of Sonic Blast was created for the system. It has its issues, but it's another game for the system, so that's how you can play up to 6 Sonic games on the Sega Master System. Another console with 6 games on it is the Sega Saturn. The 6 games released for the console are Sonic R, Sonic 3D Blast, and then Sonic Jam, which in itself contains Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. Now Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles is an oddity that needs to be discussed before moving forward. How I'm counting it moving forward is that if the game is released as one game, like we see in Sonic Origins, then it will just be counted as one game. If the games are released as 2 separate titles like we see in Sonic Mega Collection, or even like it was released for the Genesis, then we'll count it as 2 separate titles. Before anyone asks, we're not counting Knuckles and Sonic 2 as a separate game. It's just a cool gameplay feature if you put Sonic 2 inside of Sonic & Knuckles, and a fun bonus in Sonic Mega Collection. Nothing else. With 10 games to its name, the Sega Genesis was the birthplace console that brought the blue blur to life. The Genesis also had a couple of add-ons released during its lifetime, mainly the Sega CD and 32X. I think it only makes sense to count the 32X and CD Sonic games as games released for the Genesis, because the only way you could play these games would be on a Sega Genesis. That being said, the 10 Sonic games you could play on the Sonic Genesis CD 3D2X 3D2X. The 10 Sonic games you could play on the Sega Genesis CD 32X Frankenstein of a console is Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, Knuckles Chaotix, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Spinball, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and Sonic Eraser, which was only released in Japan. Following the Genesis, the next console is the Sega Game Gear with 12 titles to its name. Those being Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, Tails Adventure, Sonic Blast, Sonic Spinball, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Tails Sky Patrol, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic Drift, which was only released in Japan, and Sonic Drift 2, which was called Sonic Drift 2 worldwide despite the first game only being released in Japan. Next on our list is the Nintendo DS, but first, we need to talk about backwards compatibility. Some consoles are built with features that allow them to play games that were released on a previous console, like how I can play Sonic Advance 3 for Game Boy Advance on my pink DS Lite, or Sonic Heroes for GameCube on my Wii. A lot of consoles have this feature, and the first console to take advantage of this on our list is the Nintendo DS. But first, I want you to get backwards compatible with that subscribe button. I don't entirely know what that means or why I wrote it in the script, but just use your imagination. Seriously though, if you enjoy what you see so far, then drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for doing that, and now, let's get back to the video. As it stands, the DS can play 16 Sonic titles, those being the 3 Advance games, Sonic Pinball Party, Sonic Battle, the 2 Rush games, Sonic Colors, Sonic at Sega All-Stars Racing, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic and Winter Olympic Games, Sonic Chronicles, and the Sonic Classic Collection, which houses Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles on it. I honestly did not expect the DS to have this many games, but we still have a lot of consoles to look at in our list, so let's turn our attention towards another Nintendo console, the Wii U. The Wii U itself didn't really hold many good Sonic games, but it still had some games released on it nonetheless. You were also able to play every game released for the Wii on the Wii U, which really boosts the amount of Sonic games playable on the console. The 17 Sonic games you could play on the Wii U are Sonic Lost World, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, both Sonic and All-Stars Racing games, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic, Winter Olympics, London 2012, Sochi 2014, and Rio 2016 Olympic Games, the 2 Storybook games, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, Sonic Colors, and on the Japanese eShop you could purchase all 3 of the Sonic Advance games for your console. Jumping up to being able to play 26 Sonic games, the 3DS has a huge assortment of Sonic games to choose from, alongside being able to play every Sonic game released for the DS. There were also quite a few older Sonic games released for the 3DS's Virtual Console that, while you cannot get any more, you could at one point in time, so we'll just count them as well. With that being said, the Sonic games you could play on your 3DS are Sonic Rush and Rush Adventure, Sonic Colors, both Sonic and All-Stars Racing games, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic, Winter Olympic, London 2012, and Rio 2016 Olympic Games, Sonic Chronicles, the 4 Sonic games in the Sonic Classic Collection, both Sonic Boom games, Sonic Generations, Sonic Lost World, and then the 7 Virtual Console games are the 8-bit versions of Sonic 1, 2, and Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Blast, Sonic Drift 2, and Tails' Adventure. I honestly had no idea any of the Game Gear games were released on the Virtual Console, but it's cool to see that Sega were trying to preserve their older, lesser known titles before Sonic Origins was released. Summer is here, meaning the sun is up at 5 in the morning every single day, and it can be hard getting a good night's rest, or even just a good nap in with the sun being so bright, but luckily, that's where today's sponsor, Manta Sleep, can help. Manta Sleep is a company that produces sleep masks designed to help you fall asleep and stay asleep, so you can wake up with more energy and less sluggishness. Big businesses will have you believe that in order to feel productive, you need to wake up at 5 AM and work an 18-hour day, which Manta Sleep is not about. They are all about the pro-nap movement. Your body is designed to sleep, and Manta Sleep wants to help you get the best rest you can during the night, or even during a midday nap. I've always struggled with sleeping, so when I heard Manta Sleep wanted to send me over one of their products to try out, I was 100% on board. They sent me over the Manta Pro Sleep Mask in a sleek carbon black color, and it's been extremely helpful for both myself and also my wife, who's been using it to get some rest after taking care of our newborn all day while I'm at work. If you want to pick up a Manta Sleep sleep mask for yourself and take back control of your sleep, then visit the link in the description below and use code Llennox10 for 10% off your order. Thank you so much to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video, and let's jump back into it. From there, we can move forward to modern consoles with the PlayStation 5. The PS5 has 27 playable games, just barely beating out the 3DS. Thankfully, none of these games are region exclusive, so if you have a PS5, you can play all of these games right now except for Sonic Racing Crossworlds. You gotta wait until September to play that. The PS5 does have backwards compatibility with the PS4 games, so a few of those would be added into the count as well. That being said, you can play Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing, Sonic Colors Ultimate, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Superstars, Sonic X-Shao Generations, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, Sonic Origins, which includes Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic CD, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, 8-Bit Sonic 1, 8-Bit Sonic 2, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Drift, Sonic Drift 2, 8-Bit Sonic Spinball, 8-Bit Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Blast, Sonic Labyrinth, Tales of Sky Patrol, Tales of Adventure, and then 3 more Sonic games from the Sega Genesis Classics, which are Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Moving forward, I won't name off every game from Sonic Origins or Sega Genesis Classics, just because that will inflate the video length, and honestly, I don't want to do that all the extra editing if I don't have to. Following that, the Nintendo Switch is able to play 28 Sonic games on it. Now, the Switch 2 was recently released, but there are no Sonic games exclusive to the Switch 2 that you can't already play on the original Switch, and there are no Sonic games exclusive to the original Switch that you can't play on the Switch 2. That being said, I'm just going to move forward saying all these games are able to be played on the Switch, but just know that you can also play all these games on the Switch too. Anyways, the 28 Sonic games you can play on the Nintendo Switch are Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing, Mario and Sonic in the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, Sonic Colors Ultimate, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Superstars, Sonic X-Shao Generations, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, the 16 Sonic Origin games, and then the 3 Sega Genesis Classic Sonic games that weren't in Sonic Origins. Beating out the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox 360 is able to play 29 Sonic games. It has the benefits of having backwards compatibility, an online store, and also an add-on for the console which brought its own Sonic game with it, that being the Kinect. With that being said, the Sonic games that can be played on the Xbox 360 are Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, 2 of the 3 Riders games. Seriously though, why did Zero Gravity never get some sort of Xbox port? I'll never understand this. Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, both Sonic and All-Stars Racing games, Sonic Mega Collection Plus, which houses Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic & Knuckles, Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Spinball, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Blue Spheres, 8-Bit Sonic 1 and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Drift, Sonic Labyrinth, and Sonic Blast. Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection allows us to play Sonic CD, and with the Xbox 360 online in the store, you can play both adventure games, Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, and finally Sonic the Fighters. That's a ton of games, but we're nowhere near close to the console with the most amount of Sonic games on it. Now, these next 3 consoles are all able to play 35 Sonic games on them, and they're mostly all the same, except one console has one game difference. Those consoles are the PlayStation 4 with PS Now, the Xbox One with backwards compatibility, and the Xbox Series XS with backwards compatibility. There are a lot of games here, so I'll try and speed through them fairly quickly. The 35 games you can play on the consoles are Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing, Sonic Colors Ultimate, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Superstars, Sonic X-Shao Generations, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, the 16 Sonic Origin games, the 3 Sega Genesis Classics games, Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, both adventure games, Sonic Generations, Sonic Unleashed, and Sonic the Fighters. In Japan only, you could play Sonic 06 on PlayStation Now, while the Xbox consoles can't. But the Xbox consoles are also able to play Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, while the PS4 can't. It's really interesting how the Xbox One and the Xbox Series XS can both play the same number of games. I would have never expected that 2 console generations can play the exact same games, but that being said, we only have 2 more consoles to take a look at, so let's turn our attention to the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3, while not being the most popular PlayStation console, is able to play up to 37 different Sonic games on it due to having backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 2. The 37 Sonic games that the PlayStation 3 can play are Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic 06, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, 2 of the 3 Riders games, both Sonic and All-Stars Racing games, the 14 Sonic games from Sonic Mega Collection Plus, Sonic Gems Collection, which is home to Sonic CD, Sonic the Fighters, Sonic R, 8-Bit Sonic 2 and Sonic Spinball, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Drift 2, Tails Adventure, and Tails Sky Patrol. You can also download both episodes of Sonic 4 and both adventure games from the PS3's online store. That all being said, we can take a look at the console that can play the most amount of Sonic games on it, the Nintendo Wii. With the Nintendo Wii being the money printer that it was, it makes sense that Sega wanted to dump as many Sonic games onto the console as possible. It's the reason that basically their entire catalog, excluding handhelds, was ported onto this console in one way or another, thanks to the Wii's backwards compatibility with the GameCube or the Wii's Virtual Console. Seriously, if you take handhelds and loading games out of the equation, the only Sonic games the Wii doesn't have from the first 20 years of Sonic's lifespan are ports of Knuckles Chaotix, Sonic 06, and Sonic Freeriders, which is just astounding. Well, which Sonic games can be played on the Wii? Well, the Sonic games you can play on the Wii are Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Riders, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic Colors, Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic, Winter Olympic, and London 2012 Olympic Games, Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut, which includes 12 Game Gear games including 8-Bit Sonic 1, 2, Spinball and Mean Bean Machine, Sonic Drift, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic Triple Trouble, Sonic Drift 2, Tails of Sky Patrol, Tails Adventure, and Sonic Blast. There's also Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D Blast, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and Blue Spheres coming from Sonic Mega Collection. And finally, Sonic Gems Collection brings in Sonic CD, Sonic R, and Sonic the Fighters. That makes 39 Sonic games that are playable on the Wii, which is just an insane number of games. So, if I took you into a store and told you I would buy you one console and every Sonic game for that console, which one would you choose? Personally speaking, I would probably take an Xbox One or the Wii, because while the Wii does have a lot of games, it's really just a lot of filler games where the Xbox One has a lot more of the mainline games on it than the Wii does. Anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you watched this far, then I think you liked the video, so why not drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I have a huge video that I'm planning on releasing in the coming months, and I would hate for you to miss it. And by huge, I mean like probably over 8 hours long, so if I were you, I would subscribe so you don't want to miss it. Well, that does it for me, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.